Morning, America. How we doing today?
Morning, America.
Morning, America.
Morning, America.
More America.
More America.
Morning, America. Morning, America. Morning, America.
Morning, America.
Good morning, America.
You're gonna be the blooper.
Oh, that's a bunch of my friends out there in Arizona in the winter. I'll go out there and camp out for about a month out there in Arizona. Yeah, good people, good people. Where are we at today? We are in Colorado. We're at Southwest Colorado. We are down in Durango. If you look off to the right there, real quick, right, see those train cars? That's the that's the maintenance yard for the Durango Silverton Railroad. Now, we're not going to do that today. I'm going to save that for some other time, maybe next year or something like that. But anyway, we're just coming into town here, and we're on the south edge of town. And Durango, the old part of town, we're coming up on right here, okay? The newer part of town is back behind us back here. And that's where all the, the big box stores, the Walmarts and the Home Depots and stuff like that, and, modern grocery stores and all that. But we're getting ready to turn right here, turning into the downtown, the old historic downtown. And make sure nobody's coming. Let's go up here. All right. Now, we're getting ready to go across the railroad track. As soon as we go across that railroad track, that is the track that goes up to the right, would be going south, back to the yard where the train starts out. It's where you board the train and everything. And then if you go left there, go north, that's on the way up to Silverton. All right, so we're going to get to that later when we get to Silverton. But as of right now, we're just in the downtown area. This is all a very historic downtown. And we're just going to drive through Main Street here. And once I get just a little just outside of town, I'm going to talk more and more about the history of Durango and all this kind of stuff. But for now, I'm just kind of looking around and checking things out, so... come on, stoplight. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. I gotta go. I gotta go. Always joked around being a truck driver and sitting in traffic all the time. Always joked around. So when I die and get ready to go up to heaven, I'm going to tell God I want some of my time back for sitting in lines, sitting in traffic. But then again, why would I want to? If I'm going to go to heaven, why would I want to? Never mind. Bad idea, bad idea. Anyway, big hotel on the left there. Big old historic hotel. I will talk about them just a little bit more later on. Right on the left, see the green? No, that's not it. Where is it at? Somewhere along in here. There's a little food court thing. It's really good food in there. They have all kinds of different... I'll see it maybe eventually. But there's all these old historic buildings and everything. They were built back in 1800s when Durango first started out. We'll get all the dates and everything like that a little bit later on. But man, there's old buildings and there's brand new buildings. Here on the left is a whole bunch of older buildings. And all of these. Well, the one on the right, I don't know how old that one be. The one across the road on the corner, that's an old one. The one on the left across the road the corner is a old one. And I don't know what they are. I don't know that people are prepared about this. But it's just neat to drive down through there, and on a nice cool summer evening, it's nice to get on the sidewalk and walk up and down the street there, and we did that a few years back in 2019. Pam and I came up there on a vacation and we hung around. That's why I knew about that food court back there. And but yeah, it's just a really neat historic town. Come on, lights, taking forever. But anyway, we're going to start here. What we're doing today on this video, we're leaving Durango here, and we're going to head up to Ouray, Colorado. And the way we get up there is Highway 550, US550, otherwise known as the $1 Million Highway. Now, I've done other videos before. I did one here just about a month or so ago, just the very northern tail end of it, where the cliff road, the shelf road is and everything. But the rest of the highway is just absolutely gorgeous. And I thought, well, since I'm going to do these long form videos, I thought, well, let's just start from Durango and go the whole way up there. And I don't know how many miles it is, but it's I've got this video lined out. It's going to be about a almost 2-hour long video, about an hour and 40 or hour and 50 minutes or something like that. And as we get up in the mountains and everything, this is dash cam. What you're looking at right now is GoPro on the magnetic to the windshield up there, okay? And once we get up into the prettier mountain scenery and everything, I've got a little bit of 360 video that I'm going to use, and it's quite nice. So anyway, and that's up north of Silverton. So after we leave Silverton, between Silverton and Ouray, that's where the 360 video is. Now I filmed right up there on the top of the mountains where it's real high elevation, and there's a lot of mines and stuff up there. That's where I filmed the 360, and then I filmed it again with the 360 camera when I got down by the Shelf Road, and wouldn't you know, it didn't record. That's one of the bad things about that 360 is half time, I think it's recording and it's not, and I lose so much footage, but I just happened to have the GoPro running at the same time, and I caught it all on GoPro. So we're gonna get it all. Some of it's gonna be 360, the rest of it's gonna be the GoPro. All right, so we're getting off of the main street here, and this is where US550 merged back in. When we turned off back there, now we're merging right back into 550 here. So, and as we leave, heading north of town, I think I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the history of Durango and stuff. And a lot of times I get a lot of history, I just get it off of Wikipedia. So I'm going to go over to Wikipedia right now, and I'm just going to kind of go through some of this stuff here. So, all right, according to Wikipedia, anyway, Durango is a home rule municipality. That is the county seat and the most populous municipality, I'll get it eventually, municipality of La Plata County. Home rule municipality, what in the world is that? I was curious what that was. So I clicked on it and found out home rule municipality in Colorado. Colorado has 62 cities and 38 towns that are home rule municipalities that are self-governing under the Article 20 of the Constitution of the state of Colorado. Title 31, Article 1, Section 202 of the Colorado Revised Statutes and the Home the state authorized home rule charter determines the form of government. Home rule gives the local municipalities the power to make legislation relevant to their areas, exercising control over their own issues of local concern, while minimizing state intervention in municipal affairs. That sounds great to me. Finding older, the closer your government is to you, the local government's better than state government. State government's better than federal government. I think most of your government should be handled at home, not from Washington, D.C. But that's getting off on another subject. So, all right. The city population is 19,000 in the 2020 census. Durango is home of Fort Lewis College. Okay. The history. The town was organized from September 1880 to April 1881 by the Denver Rio Grande Railroad, otherwise known as the D&RG, later known as the Denver Rio Grande Western Railroad, as part of their efforts to reach Silverton, Colorado. Service the San Juan mining district. The whole idea of Durango being built was basically there was all this gold and mines and gold and silver mines up north of here, up in the San Juans, up around the Silverton Ouray area, right where we're going to be going through, and they needed a town fairly close by to ship all their gold to, and and be a base of operations, so to say, a bigger town fairly close that they could ship things up and the supplies that they needed for mining. Okay, the D&RG chose a site on the Animas Valley, close to the Animas River, near what is now the downtown Durango Historic Business District, what we just drove through, for its railroad facilities, following a brief and most likely perfunctory negotiation with the other establishment in the area known as Animas City, 2 miles to the north. The city was named by ex-Colorado Governor Alexander C. Hunt, a friend of the DRG President William Palmer, after Durango. It was named after Durango, Mexico, based on his favorable impressions of that city resulting from a scouting trip taken on behalf of Palmer. All right. Palmer, among other railroad associates such as William Bell, started a subsidiary company known as the Durango Trust to sell land and plan a Main Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Avenue, and so on to organize the town. In other words, lay out the plat of the town. Taking inspiration from how Palmer founded the city of Colorado Springs. Okay, so they kind of, the guy that planned Colorado Springs also planned Durango. Sales from the Durango Trust skyrocketed by the completion of the railroad, the Silverton branch, and by 1885, Durango's business district had 7 hotels, restaurants, 7 hotels and restaurants, 11 saloons, dance halls, stores, bakeries, blacksmith shops, and a variety of other businesses, also boosting the town of Silverton's population to 2,000 at the time. The railroad and the Rio Grande Southern Railroad were vital resources to many places during the including Durango during the major introduction of the automobile, helping transport goods such as produce and mineral traffic in and out of the southwestern Colorado area. In other words, it became a hub. Before there was cars, that's all they had was railroads and trails, wagon trails, and the train was the big way to get in and out of there until cars were come along, and then they built roads and stuff. Colorado, let's see, Durango, let's see, back up here. Along with other businesses such as the Durango Smelter. Okay, so when they would dig all that gold, they wouldn't smelt it up in the mountains. They'd dig it out and they'd find the rich gold ore. Okay, here's just a bunch of dirt, we throw it away, that's tailings, but here's some gold ore, and they throw it on a train, which is the Durango Silverton Railroad. It was a narrow gauge railroad. Back then it was called the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad. But anyway, they put it on the train and bring it down to Durango, and that's where they smelted it and made it into like gold bars and everything. And then after that, they shipped it over to Denver to the Colorado Mint and made coins out of it. All right. That's the gold and the silver both. However, the Great Depression and aftermath of World War II hurt the area's railroad industry. The Rio Grande Southern lost its contract to transport mail in 1951 and soon thereafter suspended operations. The DNRGW also ended their San Juan Express passenger service from Durango to Alamosa. Alamosa is way back east, south central Colorado. However, the natural scenery along the Silverton branch had been recognized as a major tourist attraction. In turn, the Denver and Rio Grande Western introduced the major tourist industry into the Durango area, transporting visitors up into Silverton and back, attracting Hollywood into La Plata County for a time. Once the railroad ended up losing its freight traffic in 1968, the tracks for the Durango east to Chama, New Mexico, and south to Farmington were removed, but the Silverton branch remained in operation until 1981, when it was sold and became the Durango Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. Okay, now it doesn't say here, but I think in 1981 that was when they closed one of the last of the big mines up north, and we're going to go drive right across the top of it. It's weird how it's mined into the mountain, and the road goes above it and then circles back, and we'll see, and I'll point that out when we get up there. But I think in 1981 is when that mine closed, and that's why they closed the railroad, and so that's when they turned it into the narrow gauge. Well, it's always been a narrow gauge railroad, but they changed the name of it and called it the Durango Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. That's the tourist railroad that we go on now. All right, there are significant other sites around the Durango area on state and national historic registers, including Mesa Verde, which is not too far from there, it's west of there, Chimney Rock National Monument, Durango Rock Shelters Archaeology Site, and Spring Creek Archaeological District, and Talus Village. It's a basket maker site or something. Anyway, don't get into that kind of stuff. So Let's see what else we got. Main Avenue, what we just drove down. Main Avenue is a nationally registered historic district that cuts through downtown Durango and is home to galleries, boutiques, restaurants, bars, and other businesses. 2 notable and historic hotels. Here we go. The General Palmer, which is the one we saw on the left, and then the Strater Hotel. That was on the right, okay? They lie on the south end of the avenue near the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad depot. With its combination of historic architecture, entertainment, and shopping, Main Street has comprised the center of Durango and is a popular year-round tourist destination. I'm a good reader, ain't I? All right, Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. Durango is known worldwide for the railroad, a heritage railroad. What is a heritage railroad? Well, you put the cursor on top of here. A heritage railroad, or heritage railway or railroad, is a railway operated as living history to recreate or preserve railway scenes of the past. Heritage railways are often old rail lines preserved in a state depicting a period of the history of rail transport. Well, there you go. Okay, it's a heritage railroad that operates what was the Denver Rio Grande Western branch line to the historic mining town of Silverton. Also, still notably using historic DRGW steam locomotives. So they still use the steam locomotives. They also have diesel locomotives, but you know, they've used both of them. Okay, and I always thought for a long time, I thought they were it was just one train, you know. And I was up in Durango one time years ago, and there was like 3 of them up in Silverton. I mean, I was up in Silverton, and there was 3 trains side by side. So they got more than one. They got several, I think. So anyway, let's read what else we got to read here. Find where it was at. Okay, the Animas River Valley begins in the heart of the San Juan Mountains. All these mountains you see up ahead of you, and what we're going to drive through, all these mountains down here in southwest Colorado are the San Juan Mountains, and they are spectacular. I try not to be too dramatic and, oh, it's epic and wonderful and it's the biggest, best, and baddest, you know, like but when it is nice, I give it credit. And San Juans, they are nice. They are very beautiful mountains. And I know that because taking jeep trails and stuff like that up into the mountains, way up in the very top, they're beautiful up there. It was one of my favorite places in the country. Okay, the Animas River runs through starts in the San Juan Mountains and runs through downtown Durango. It boasts gold medal fly fishing and is popular for whitewater rafting, kayaking, and canoeing. On warm summer afternoons, its popular diversion is to buy an inflatable inner tube and float down the river from Oxbow Park to Schneider Park. Okay, just north of here, I'm not sure how much farther on the video, but about 25 miles north of Durango is Purgatory Ski Area. Purgatory Resort, located 25 miles north of downtown Durango, has 99 trails. It's big. 12 lifts and a vertical drop of over 2,000 feet, and more than 1,500 acres of skiable terrain. The resort features lodging, ski rentals, shopping, and dining. Purgatory is also a popular summertime recreation place. And let's see, they got some more stuff here to talk. Downtown Snowdown Festival is a festival that goes on in the annual midwinter event, Parade of Lights and all this other stuff. Music in the Mountains goes on up here. Let's see, Durango Ragtime and Early Jazz Festival, Iron Horse Bicycle Classic. Founded in 1972, the Iron Horse is a 61-mile bicycle road race held annually in Durango. Every year, cyclists from around the world come together and race. They actually race the train. The train takes off. There the bikers go off, and they see who can get to Durango first. And it takes the train takes 3.5 hours to get up to Silverton. Silverton. So anyway, what else? Stuff about public transportation and colleges. And okay, that's about it. All I got to talk about on Durango. So we're north of town up here now, and if you go back, I missed it because I was talking and everything. But if you go back at the 14-minute mark of this video, off to the right, there's a little airfield, and it's not a big airport. It's an airfield for gliders, okay? 20 years ago, we were on vacation up here. Pam and I came up on vacation, and we were driving along, and kind of like right here, off to the right, a big open meadow. Okay, it's back here 5 miles behind us, but there's a big open area, and there was some planes, and a big sign said glider rides. So we turned around and went back. I tried to get her to go up in it, and she wouldn't do it. So I did. I got in the thing, and I made a video out of it. And this is like the very first video I ever made. Not for YouTube. It was, 20 years ago. It was the very first video that I ever made on a computer, using editing software. And it's 20 years ago, okay? Never done it before. So, but it's not bad. And it's in my computer somewhere. And I think what I'm going to do, this video is coming out on a Sunday here. So I think on Tuesday, in 2 days, I'm going to release that old video, just so you can see. It's about a 10-minute video. The flight lasted about 30 or 40 minutes, but I didn't film the whole thing, or I didn't put the whole thing into the video. But it was a 10-minute video of me flying around. There was the pilot was sitting behind me. I'm sitting in the front, and the pilot's sitting behind me, and that was an experience. That really was. Tow plane took off. It was like a crop duster looking tow plane, and they pulled us up above the canyon rim. If you look off to the right and off to the left, the top of the canyon rim, we went up higher than that, and we rode the thermals there for about 20 minutes, and then we come back and dive bomb the airfield. Okay, and we got up over it was about 100 knots, I think, and I mean we're booking, and we come buzzing down through there. Anyway, it was a neat little video. It was fun to do. If you ever get a chance to go do a glider flight, they are fun. And the funny thing about it, when I'm flying, and I recently went back and watched that video, and I forgot a lot of this stuff. It was 20 years ago, but when we come up over a ridge, well, there's a big updraft, the thermals and stuff, and man, boy, you can feel it in your seat, boy. Whoa, there you go. So it was an experience. So not sure where we're at here. Kind of lost track of the highway. We'll be coming up on Purgatory here before too long, and it'll be on the left side. There's a big sign off to the left, and you don't really see much of the ski slopes and everything, because they right after you go past that, there's a canyon, or not a canyon, a valley that goes west, and most of the ski slopes are on the north face of that, northern exposure. They're on the northern, so you don't see them from the highway, but you can see the entrance to the place. But the rocks and everything. See, down in Durango, it has more of a desert vibe, I think. There's a lot of different kinds of forests in Colorado, and you got your high altitude, alpine forest with not cedar, pine trees and everything, and your aspen trees and aspen groves. It's just beautiful up there. But down here, it's a little bit more. We're starting to get into taller trees here on the right and left. Those taller Christmas trees shaped trees, and I don't know what they are. They're some kind of pine. I don't know my trees that well. But back in Durango, they're more squatty, scruffy looking trees, I think. It just has more of a deserty feel. But as we as we go north, we're climbing. This whole time we've been, since we left town, we're climbing, and the altitude gets higher, and the trees and the plant life and everything changes. And so yeah, it's a beautiful drive. And then one of the reasons I love this highway so much is because I didn't know anything about it. I'd never been up in a semi or nothing. There's no reason to take a semi up here unless you're delivering to, gas at the gas station up here or something. There's very little road, semi or truck traffic coming up through here. So I never drove up through here. And we come up on a vacation, and we're driving. We were just heading around, just had no plan, just take off and drive, And when it gets later in the day, about 5 o'clock, start looking for a hotel, I mean, it's just kind of the plan at the time. And we got to Durango and spent the night, and woke up the next morning. We come driving up through here, just expecting what we're seeing right now. Later on, it just, wow, look at this. Oh my gosh, look at that. Whoa, it just got so, and the thing I liked about it is discovered it by accident. Didn't know it was there. That's some of my best, my favorite things about traveling these back roads that you don't go on a semi with. I mean, you can, but there's no reason to for the most part. You get on some of these old back roads and everything, and you get surprised at what you see. And we're just coming in a national forest there. I can't read the sign. It's a national forest. But you get, you drive along and you just come around a curve and boom, there's something like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. And that's what I love about these back roads, 2-lane roads. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing these kind of long format videos, is to show you these kind of highways that a lot of people never get the chance to see. Like I've said in the previous video, well, a couple weeks ago I did the live stream and everything. I was talking about this, and it's just people that live in Ohio never get to see this, because Ohio doesn't have these kind of mountains and this kind of scenery. Okay, it gets better than this. What we're talking about is on up the road a ways, but it gets beautiful out here. And people from I don't know, pick your state, North Dakota. Well, they never get to see this kind of stuff, Now, people from down here in Colorado never get to see the kind of scenery that's in North Dakota, which is pretty much open and flat, and a lot of people would say desolate, but it has its own beauty. That's the funny, that's the thing about America, is just we've got so many beautiful things about this country. I joke around with my friends, and hey, you want to go to go over, I got to talking to a friend of mine the other day about going to Mexico, and I'm like, I don't want to go to Mexico. I have no reason to go to Mexico. What is in Mexico that I don't have here? So, but it's not just Mexico. It's all these other countries around the world. I mean, yeah, Egypt has their the pyramids. Egypt has the pyramids, but okay, you can see those on a photo and everything, or video. But the Alps, you go to Europe and they have the Alps. We've got beautiful mountains here in America. The Bahamas got beautiful beaches. Go to Florida. We got beautiful beaches in Florida and California, even Texas, sort of. The beaches in Texas aren't quite as nice, but they're still there. I mean, you've got beaches in New Jersey, for crying out loud. It's just pretty much everything, anything in the world, we have it in our country. We have so much resources and beauty and just different kinds of topography. We got, they got the Sahara Desert. Well, we've got big sand dune deserts too, and it's just, I've never had the real big desire to travel worldwide. Now, mainly because I don't have the money to travel worldwide, but if I won the lottery, I'd probably take off to some place. I'd like to go to Scotland, see the Scottish castles. I'd love to go to Australia and New Zealand. Love to go down there. I'd love to go to places like Germany. I'd like to go see Dracula's castle. Where's that? Transylvania, wherever it's at. But I'd like to see a few things like that. But there's almost in anything you can think of in the world, there's a equivalent substitute here in the continental United States. And Alaska and Hawaii. So, I mean, if you want, like I said, Bahamas, we got Hawaii, so. Anyway, that's just me, bragging about my country. Love my country. Just wish they wouldn't mess it up. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to get political. Oh, heck. So we're getting closer to that purgatory, I think, up here. I think that big mountain on the left up there, or straight ahead, I think that's around purgatory. We get pretty close. And we're going uphill. Like I said, we're still climbing. Now, it's not real steep right in there, but we're still climbing. We've been climbing since we left town. Them big old cliffs off to the left. That, back about that glider, the glider pilot, I was sitting there talking to him, now, he's not going to give me that long of a ride because he needs to land and put another customer in the seat. But he says, he comes up here in a single seater and he can fly around. He says he can fly 6 or 8 hours all day long. As long as the sun's up, there's thermals. And then he come back and land, and, can't fly at night. But, man, he says it's beautiful. That's why he does the glider stuff. He just loved it, And when you listen to him, he's got an Australian accent, so he's from down under. Man, look at that big mountain cliff on the left there. It's just majestic, beautiful. So we get some aspen trees on the right there. There's some more on the left. Here in a couple months, those or about another month or so, those will start changing and get in that golden. I won't be here. I'll be over in Kansas doing harvest, but so I won't be able to see. Won't get to see that this year. But one of these years, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to stay up here during the winter or in the fall and document the change of the the change of the leaves. There's a big old grove of aspens on the left and on the right. Aspen trees are pretty. There's something about them I like. Don't you wish you was in the passenger seat? It's so much better in person. It really is. I feel bad for you. You know, you're sitting at home watching it. Hopefully, you're watching this on a TV instead of your cell phone. Watch these videos on your TV. It's so much better. You can see so much more detail. So much better. It's just beautiful and everything. The cell phone is just so small. You know, it's not. Just doesn't do it justice. And I've driven my semi up through here, you know, afterwards in, it would have been about 2017, I think, 2017, 2018 and everything. I come up through here in the semi. I made videos in the semi coming up through here. But when I came through, I didn't have a trailer on. I was bobtailing. I was heading, at the time I was taking, man, look at them mountains. Look at that cabin off to the left. Isn't that pretty? Anyway, I was on my way up to Salt Lake City. I go up to Salt Lake City and pick up a trailer and bring it down to San Antonio, and then bobtail all the way back up to Salt Lake City. We did round trips like that for a whole summer there. I think it was 2017. I did the whole summer of traveling back and forth, and then kind of did some of it in 2018. But as y'all might remember, in 2018, that's when I went to Alaska. I took a couple months off and drove all the way to Alaska, and that's an epic trip. And if I run out of these kind of videos, I think I'm going to reload those videos and replay them for you, and let you see those. I'll probably put them all together in like 3 videos and mush them all together into one big video or something. I don't know. But that was a wonderful trip, going up through the Rockies, went up through Idaho and eventually Montana and everything, and eventually into Canada. Went up through Canada, went through Banff and Jasper National Forest or National Parks up there. Banff is their big Yellowstone or Yosemite kind of national park in Canada, and I had never heard of it. Not being from Canada, I'd never heard of it. And when I got ready, I was planning on going, and I talked to some friends, and they were, "Oh, you're going up through Canada. You gotta go through Banff." What's a Banff? I didn't have any clue. And they said, "Man, you've got to go up through Banff. It's just beautiful up there." So I looked it up on the map and figured out where it was, and I'm like, okay, well, okay, if it's great. I drove up, and it's one of those, another thing, I was surprised. You know, I drove in, I'm like, oh my Lord, look at how pretty this is up here. So, and that's, I grew up in Kansas, and I've lived in Texas most of my life, and so the mountains fascinate me. I just love the mountains because it's different from what I lived for 40 or 50 years. And I was in the mountains a little when I was trucking and everything, but I didn't get to go up in the mountains. I just, in interstate cutting across, Pennsylvania or something, and it's just not quite the same. You actually get up here in the mountains, and it's so much nicer. Now, while I'm editing this video and everything, of course, I'm driving down the highway, and I'm not talking. Okay, all this vocals is I'm editing. I'm doing that during the editing process. So while I'm editing this video, I know where I've already been, and I've got some wonderful videos coming up. I haven't edited them yet, but they will be great. One is coming. I run across after I leave here. I come up to Ouray. I ended up going through Montrose and on up into Grand Junction, called I-70. And I run I-70 across, and I filmed what's it called, Glenwood Canyon. Glenwood Springs, Colorado, just past that, there's the canyon called Glenwood Canyon, and an interstate runs through it, and they had there's Purgatory on the left, there it is right there, that whole mountain. You go up around, and as we keep going, you'll see that mountain rotates around, and the valley going west on the north side of that mountain, that's where most of the slopes are, okay? But that was the entrance back here. So anyway, when you go to what was I talking about? Glenwood Canyon, they had a 2-lane highway going through there. I think it was Highway 6, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, there was a highway going through there, and it was just a little small 2-lane right along the river. And they said I-70, they needed to put I-70 through. They had all the way to Denver, and they wanted to connect I-70 on over to Utah. And so when I first started trucking, I'm on I-70. This is back in '87. They were still building, finishing it up. And I was on a 2-lane interstate. So that's how long I've been driving. But yeah, I was that area right through Glenwood Canyon hadn't been made into 4-lane because I roll my eyes a lot of times at environmentalists and some of the crud they go stupid over stupid stuff, And to me, there's a lot of things, oh my God, there's a snail darter or whatever. I'm like, whatever, okay. But they were the different environmental groups and everything got on the government when they was trying to build the freeway through there, and they protested, hey, we got to do something nicer. This is a beautiful canyon, and you come in here with your bulldozers and plow it all up, it'll ruin the canyon. And I got to admit, they were right. They were right. Now, it cost a lot more. It's about 20-25 miles through there. It cost a heck of a lot more to build the highway through there because of the way they did it, bridges and stuff. But it was well worth it because they preserved the canyon, and now you can drive through on an interstate. You can drive through and see this beautiful, gorgeous canyon. Now, I've got footage, and I had the GoPro footage, and I have the 360 footage. And again, the 360 footage failed me. I turned it on, but it didn't record. So, oh well. So, but anyway, I'm going to see what I can do on that video. That'll be coming up, probably the next video after this one. And then from there, I go over to Vail, and I come from Vail south down to what was the town? Leadville. And I'd never been on that highway. I wasn't even planning on going down that highway. I just got on the highway, and I'm looking on the map and think, oh, they go down. Let's just take this to see what's there. And man, it was a wonderful highway, beautiful scenery, and there was a surprise. About halfway through, there's this town, and I don't want to give too much away, but I was really taken back by this town. I thought it was really unique. So that'll be a video either next week or 2 weeks from now. And then from there, I go down to, what's the town? Go down by Salida. And then from Salida, I run over to Canyon City. And I'm driving around Canyon City trying to think, what can I make for a video over in here? I mean, there's something. So I'm looking around trying to find a video. We're going up a pretty steep hill right here. It's a switchback kind of hill, but it's not the big one. The big one's after Silverton. But if you look off to the right, I mean, it's downhill, and I wish I had the 360 running here, but I didn't, and because the other one's so much better. There's not any of the trees in the way. It's like a shelf road, no guardrail. Oh, I'm gonna fall off of it. Anyway, so I get over to Canyon City and looking around, and I found these basically they're Jeep trails that drive up to Cripple Creek, and I take those roads up through there, and I mean, it was beautiful up through there. I mean, I keep saying that, but everybody, I like Colorado. I mean, I like Colorado. It's got a lot of natural beauty. It really does. So give them credit for that. There you go, aspen tree forest again. So anyway, those are some of the ones I've already got filmed. I haven't edited them yet, but I've got them filmed and everything ready to go, ready to work on. So I'll be doing that over the next few weeks and everything, putting them up on YouTube. And, I'm going to release one of these videos every Sunday. These long form videos. I still will be able to put little shorty videos. If I come across something that's not a long format video, it's just 10-minute normal video or something, I'll make that and I'll put it up and put them up in the middle of the week sometime or something. So it's not just going to be one video a week. That's what I'm planning on, is one video a week, but there could be more, you know, in midweek. Wish I was on a motorcycle on this. Wouldn't this be wonderful on a Gold Wing or a Harley riding up through here? And the day I filmed this, it was probably about 80 degrees down there in Durango. Oh, what happened? Oh, that's right. My camera got hot and turned off. I pulled up here about another 3 miles up the road. There was this rest area kind of thing, and I pulled in there and regrouped and put a new battery in and let the camera cool down. What happens is the camera does pretty good, but where it's mounted on the windshield up there, if I'm heading toward the sun, which when I was going up that hill, I was going toward the sun, and these guys got it right here, taking off on their Harleys. I wonder if they'd trade me. You want a van? I'll take your Harley. Yeah, awful hard to sleep in that Harley though. So anyway, the camera gets in the sun and it overheats. Okay, it doesn't overheat unless it gets in the sun. And from the people that watched during the convoy and everything, I was having trouble with I was using my cell phone for the live streaming during that convoy, and the camera would sit right there in the sun and it would overheat, so I'd have troubles with that. But if the camera's not in the sun, it usually does pretty good. Doesn't tear up, doesn't do anything bad. So anyway, we're still riding. We're okay. Right there's an entrance where you can go off and go on trail rides, and your Jeeps. You know, people bring their Jeeps and your side-by-sides and stuff nowadays, but it used to be Jeeps mainly. And there are all these trails going up to they're old wagon trails going up to the mines. There's mines up in them hills. There's gold in them there hills. And they have these trails going up into these mountains, and these beautiful these trails. Years later, they're still there and everything, and people in Jeeps got a habit of going up there and traveling around, and it became a big thing to do, you know, kind of a touristy thing to go to Colorado and get in a Jeep. You can come up here and rent one, and I'm going to say you could probably rent a Jeep for about $200 a day, you know, somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit more now. But I've rented Jeeps before when I was out in Ouray. Rented a Jeep up here in Ouray, Colorado. Rented a Jeep there. Rented a Jeep in Moab one year and drove around. And it's great. Now you can't go on the really ridiculously hard trails. You know, you tear things up. They don't want you to doing that. So they got a list of trails. Hey, don't go on this trail because it's you know, a real rough one and everything. Look at that beautiful lake. Look at that beautiful lake. I don't remember the name of it. I'll put a notation up here. I don't remember. But a lot of camping down there beside that lake. It's all private. I think it's private campsites there, campground and everything. But anyway, you can come up here to Colorado and come up to Silverton or Ouray, and you can rent a side-by-side, or you know, like a Razor or something like that. You can rent those, or you can rent a Jeep or whatever, and take off and go up, and they give you the maps and everything, and get way up on the top of these mountains. So where I'm at right now, I don't know, I'm going to guess I'm probably around 8, maybe 9,000 feet right now. Those mountains, the top of those mountains are 12. Okay, off to the right there, those mountains, and that one straight ahead. Okay, that's probably a 12 or 12,500 foot mountain. Okay, doesn't look like it from here, but as you get closer, you'll see. But you can get not to the very top of them. You can get up 11,500 feet some places, some of these passes and stuff, and it's just the view is spectacular. Now, maybe that's something I might do next year. Maybe I'll come out here in the van, park, or the bus or whatever, and park, and run a side-by-side and go up and do the Silverton trails. You know, I did that once back in about 2018 or so. I think it was 2018. I rented one. I got to Silverton and I rented one and went up for the whole day, drove it around, and had a great time. You know, and I was by myself and had a great time. Now I followed I see other forwarders, and you kind of follow along with them and stuff. But you know, yeah. So here we are. Isn't this beautiful? Love it. I love it. And you can camp up in here too. There's all these little places you can pull off and camp. I haven't, because for the last month, or while I've been up here in Colorado this summer, every time I look at the weather forecast, it looks like it's going to be rainy or overcast or whatever. And I think, well, I'll go to Silverton, or I'll go up there by Ouray somewhere and camp in these mountains up in here. And it's like, it's going to be overcast, and then I don't have any solar, and you camp for 3 or 4 days with no solar, your batteries run down. So, but yeah, you can pull off just a lot of different places around here. You can pull off. Now, you don't want to pull off on a Jeep trail, because when you're parked on the trail or right there, all the Jeeps and side-by-sides will come by and dust you out. But there's a lot of places up here. You can look on your, there's apps, a little fall off on the right there, wasn't it? There's all kinds of places on the maps you can go to, and it's Camp Indium is a website, and it's also an app on your phone, and that's how I find a lot of these campsites that I go to. So Camp Indium. There's another one called iOverlander, which is really good, and you can use that to find all these campsites. And then there's another one. It's not really so much to find campsites, but it's called oh, I forget the name of it. Let me look while I'm here. Look, I got the phone right here. Let me pull it up. Outly. It's O-U-T-L-Y. Okay, and I think they pronounce it Outly. Okay, because it's not Outly, it's Outly. Because what it shows is who owns the land. Like this land, this valley off to the right, it'll show the such and such Forest Service owns it, or controls it or whatever, or that right over there's BLM land, or it's national park land, or whatever. It'll show you all that, so when you pull into a place, you know that you're on BLM or you're on national forest or whatever. It's just for information, so you know. Hey, there's a semi, first one. Yeah, he's probably delivering groceries and stuff up here in one of these towns. That's the only reason he's here. Otherwise, you just don't see semis up here, because there's no reason for them to be up here. But it's a national highway. US highway. You can go on it. Can't do oversized and stuff because they got a tunnel up here. It's on toward the end of the video here. Where there's a tunnel and everything. But we're starting to get into some pretty stuff. Now, I don't have the 360 running right now, otherwise I'd pan to the right, pan to the left. But do you see off to the right, there's the road, the little outcropping, just past it. What do you see down there in the valley? What is that? Dun, dun, dun. That's Silverton. Right there's Silverton. See the mountain on the right? The train comes up on the other side of that mountain. Okay, it comes up on the other side of the mountain. Or no, take it back. It's on. You can see it down the bottom. Back airways. It was on the other side of that mountain. It takes a different route than the highway. Okay, it follows the river. This highway didn't follow the river. We followed it for a while, but now, but we're coming down this, and this is steep. Coming back down here. This is probably 6 or 7% grade coming down, and that's about as steep as you get on the highways for the most part. There are places that have a bigger grade. Okay, what does that mean, 6% grade? Does anybody know? 6% grade. 6% grade means for every 100 feet of travel. So if you got out and put a tape measure on the ground and run it out 100 feet, okay, the highway drops 6 feet. For every 100 feet of travel, you drop 6 feet in elevation, or raise 6 feet in elevation. That's a 6% grade. 7% grade would be 7 feet. 8%, and trust me, that doesn't sound like much, but going from 6% to 7% is a big difference. A big difference. Pretty much, I don't think there's any interstate in the country that's more than 6%, and if it is, it's for a very short time, short duration, but and I'm gonna have to look it up real quick, try to find out what the name of that mountain is on the right. It's a big red mountain, and I can't remember the name of the damn thing, but all up in there, you can actually see them. You You can see some of them up on the mountain, little places that are scars and stuff. That's mines. Okay, that one's straight right in the middle of the screen. That's a mine right in there. Look off to the right, past these trees. Past these trees, you can see some scarring up there. Those are mines. You guys went in there and dug, and the tailings and stuff fall out onto the ground. You know, they push them out over the cliff. So, but yeah, we're getting ready. This is the last switchback coming down into Silverton. I'm going to drive around Silverton real quick and just kind of tell you a few things about it. And then somewhere along here, I'm going to have to shut the camera off or stop the video for a minute while you won't notice it, but I'm going to have to look up my facts and figures and try to remember the name of some of these mountains and stuff, and the name of that mine that I'm going to tell you about. But yeah, we're coming. This is still real steep coming down into town until we get down past this curve up here, then it levels out. There's trails all up on that mountain up there. Back in the trees, you can't see them, but there's all kinds of trails all over up in there. And you can come into town here, this is Silverton, you can come into town, and I'll point it out. The place that I rented from, we drive right by them. There's about 2 or 3 places in here. Now, when I rented, this is years ago, but like I said, back in 17 or 8, I think it was 18, somewhere along in there, I rented that side-by-side, and I drove around up in here. And at the time, you could drive some of the streets in Silverton with a side-by-side, but there's a sign up here somewhere that says absolutely no, which one is it here? But there's a sign that says absolutely no side-by-sides, no off-road vehicles there it is right there, that red sign. No off-road vehicles in the town at all. They must have had too many people coming over the side-by-sides, and they were just everywhere, and they become in a way, they kind of become a pest. It's like, you know, there's just too damn many of them. So as you see, there's none in town right now. Now, when they rent these, I think what they do is they throw them on a trailer and drag them out of town about a mile, and then unload them, and then you take off from there. But these are all old towns. We're not to the downtown part yet, but getting close. There's a bar was on the left. But Silverton is a neat, right here on the left, see the stingers and all, or what they call them, slingshots, and the Jeeps and the side-by-sides, you can rent things there. But the one I rented from is up here. See the red on the left? Just that red building on the left? That's where I rented mine. Okay? And I rented it from there, and at the time, you couldn't go up and down Main Street, but you get just off of Main Street. You could drive around to get out into the woods, out on the trails. See all those Jeeps right there? Those are for rent. There's the old downtown, the big building on the left there. That's a big Imperial, the Grand Imperial Hotel, I think is the name of it. So it's the Grand Imperial Hotel. Good, I get to stop here. If I make a right, hey, there's the motorcycle guys. We see them again later on. Anyway, if I'd have made a turn right to the right here, that's where the trains come up. I mean, they come within 2 blocks of town, and you can get a combo ticket from them. And you can get on the train, ride it up, stay in the hotel overnight, and then ride the train back the next day. Okay? But all these little gift shops and stuff. One year I was up here, it's on the left up here, I don't remember which one. One of those 3 buildings on the left, there's a bar there. And I went in there and drank a few beers. But the people that were in there, they were all with groups and everything, so I sit there by myself. Poor Stanley. There it is on the left right there. So anyway, I went in there and drank a couple beers, and then went back and went to sleep. But I think that's a courthouse right there. No, I don't know what that is on the right. I think it's some kind of courthouse. Kind of looks like that courthouse on Back to the Future, doesn't it? But we're going to go up here just a little bit farther. I'm going to turn around. But when I pull into the parking lot, there's a museum up here. If you listen to me, there's the courthouse right there. There's the courthouse. Listen to me. If you come to Silverton, you have to go to this place, this pink building on the left here. Okay? That big square building, the one on the left right there with the gray roof, that's the old jail. The building behind it, see the brown roof building behind it? That's where you walk in. There's the boardwalk, walks right up to the building, and that's where you pay your fee. And you walk all over all 3 of these buildings, and there's a basement underneath, and it's a mining museum. and it is really, really good museum. And that's the courthouse right beside it there. So at the time, when you go into this museum and look around, they talk about this jail was like the state-of-the-art jail of its time. This would have been the late 1800s, I think. I'm not sure what year, but it was a state-of-the-art jail. It's basically a big brick building, and then on the inside, it's like a huge cage. That's like the cage doesn't go to the walls. Even if somebody on the outside busts the brick wall down, you're still inside of a metal cage. So it was very, very secure for its time. It was a state-of-the-art type of jail. Well, we're going to go down here just a few blocks, and we're going to turn, and we're going to go over and see if the train's in town. And it's not a huge town, so you can walk up and down, Main Street here, and for 30 minutes, or take 4, 5, 6 hours if you want. Do a little window shopping and whatever. Now, it's not as big. That's what I like about Silverton. It's not really, really big, and it's not pretentious. Look at the people. When I'm driving around here, look at the people. They're just everyday ordinary people. Okay, you don't see a lot of Mercedes. You don't see a lot of real high dollar cars, and restaurants that charge $50 for a piece of asparagus. You go into these restaurants, you actually get a meal. Unlike a city like what's the name of it? Aspen. Aspen is just overgrown, over big and fancy, and it's just too many too many hoity-toity people, let's put it that way. And that's why I don't like towns like Aspen and what was the one up in Wyoming, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I pulled in there thinking I was really going to like it, and I didn't. I drove around. It just seemed like every place it was $14 lattes, and it's just not my kind of place. But this town, I could walk around this town all day and just have a really good time, And there's all kinds of places, like I don't know which ones where they're at now, but there's the train on the left. We're going to see a better shot of it here in a second. It's actually backed in. That was the caboose. So, but a lot of these little shops and everything, you go in and it's like a guy with a chainsaw carving the bears for a chainsaw, and it's all that type of stuff. And there's old model. Is that a Model A or model? That was a Model A, I think. Yeah. So this is one block off of Main Street. This is Main Street was over there, and this is one block south, parallel. But I was driving around here, and I hope I got it on camera. When we pull back around, I'll point it out. Somebody took two rail cabooses. They took two cabooses and put them together and made a house out of it. It's over one of these blocks here. I drive by it. I don't know if I got it on camera. I think I did. I think you'll be able to see it. But we're going to go down here a couple blocks because the camera's facing forward. When I'm driving around, I can see left and right. And I saw the trains down here, so I'm going to go over and turn here and show it to you. And there's only one here. They have multiple trains though. And then I got to looking at it. I don't know. I don't know what their schedule and how they work and everything. But there was nobody on this train. But one block north of us, there, behind that red barn, just to the north of us, I think I'll see it when I turn around here. There's two big tour buses. So I don't know. Maybe the train broke down and they can't take it back. So they got to haul everybody back on tour buses. I'm not quite sure. So, but I'm going to go on that one day. Probably next year. I'm going to spend the money on it. I looked it up. The cheapest ticket was on the steam locomotive, like one you just saw there, was about $105 or $107 or something like it, just a little over $100. And if you get the train that has the diesel locomotive, it's a little bit less. It's like 97 or something like that. And then and that's for just the base model, coach or whatever they call it. Then you have different classes. You can go into different cars and go up into the presidential car, and the presidential car is like $230, but it's the fancy one. And so we're going to turn down here, and there's the rail off to the right. That building on the right, that's the old depot right there. It's where the train used to pull in. when it was just coal train, you know, or gold ore train. And then since they made it a tourist thing, they actually pulled it right up into town. They laid track and went right up into town. So I go across the tracks here, turn around, come back, and I couldn't quite tell if that building there, if it's strictly maintenance or something, or if it's part of a museum. There's see that trail going up the hill up there? That's one of those Jeep trails. But I couldn't quite tell whether that, you know, if it's someplace a tourist can go in and look around and check it all out. I don't know. But, so there's the caboose house straight ahead, almost in the center of the screen on the right. That's the caboose. There's two cabooses. Somebody laid some track up there and got these cabooses up there and then pulled the track away, you know. What they got it in there. They got two cabooses and they put them end to end and they built a house. It's just, I like that A-frame on the left. That's pretty. I really like that A-frame. But look at it. That's a caboose and they put a shipping container on the top, so they got it upstairs. Yeah, what do people think of next? I tell you. Oh, mercy. But as I was driving through town, I don't know. I got a hair up my head. I don't probably won't do it, but while I was driving around filming this, I just got to think, man, wouldn't it be neat to live here? Now I wouldn't want to be here in the winter, because I was talking to people years ago when I was up here, and they said, yeah, you know, we get a big blizzard and we get snowed in. You got to have enough food to last. You know, you might be snowed in for 2, 3, 4 weeks. So, you know, but this is that. Going back on that street, one street south of Main Street. We're paralleling straight Main Street. We're heading kind of east, northeast right now. We're going right back the way we came. And then I'm going to turn and go back down Main Street and leave town. But all these little shops, I mean, I think that's a little cafe on where that old Model A is. I think that's a restaurant. There's hamburgers on the left. Oh, something you notice? There's not one fast food joint. There's no McDonald's, no Wendy's, no Burger Kings. You know, not even, you know, Taco Bell's. I don't even think there's a Subway in town. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe just not enough business for that kind of a, you know, for a big corporate to come in. But there's just nothing like that. It's all these. There's that Overlander right there. That's a nice rig there. You know, if you can afford it, they're $400,000 or $500,000 for those things. They're really, really expensive. It's a neat little town. And if you go one block north, here's Main Street going east and west here. If you go one block north, if I went straight here one block and turned left, it's kind of the same thing. One block north, one block south of Main Street. It's kind of the same. Dirt road, gravel dirt road, or sand road, I guess it'd be. There's my Harley guys. We see them a little bit later. That white trike Harley. So we'll see them here. I leave town as I'm driving. They catch up to me and pass me. I pulled over for them. What is that pink vehicle over there? An old paddy wagon, or not a paddy? What, panel wagon? Yeah. There's a building on the left says Jerky. I guess that's all they sell is jerky. There's barbecue, and you can sit out on the patio. Park out, and you sit out in the parking lot. And I always wondered why that is so fashionable. Let's go sit out in the parking lot. You know, where the parking area is. Restaurants build out there so people can go sit out in a restaurant, you know, on their tables out there. Probably because they have so much business, they don't have enough seating on the inside, so they partition the city council to let them, you know, use that area for seating, and I'm sure they pay for it. So, but there's that rental place again on the right. So, I just like this town. I don't know why. I just like it. There's nothing, you know, glitzy, glamorous. You know, it's pretty much the exact opposite of Las Vegas. You know? It just seemed like it'd be a neat place to live. You know, live there during the summer, and then when the weather gets crappy and everything, jump in an RV and head to Arizona for the winter. You know, but I think it would be neat to live here. But will I do it? I doubt it. But you know, it's something you think, you know, man, it would be neat to go do. So. All right, we're getting ready to turn here, and we're going to Ouray. And I think it's only like 15, 20 miles or something like that up to Ouray. Look for a sign. I think there's a sign here says how many miles it is. But this is where it starts getting good. From Silverton up to Ouray is where it's spectacular. It is absolutely wonderful on the way up there to Ouray. And we only go a few miles north of town here, and it switches over to 360 camera. Watch for rocks and wildlife. Okay. Isn't that pretty? It's just love it, love it, love it, love it. I got lucky today. There's some clouds up on the sky to make it look pretty, you know, so it's not just a plain blue sky. It's just struck gold on this video. This is wonderful. Look at that big old cliff. There's a river up beside us. That's the Animas River. Flows down through there. That's the one that goes, that's the river that eventually goes down through Durango. The one we were talking about, you know, world-class fly fishing and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it is beautiful up here. I love it. I love it. Now, I don't know that red and everything. I think that's iron. You know, there's a lot of iron in that, I guess. I don't know my geology that well, or geology or geography, geology. I don't know that about. I think red means there's a lot of iron in the dirt. But if that's the case, why aren't they mining that too? But probably because that kind of mining really, really damages the mountains and stuff, tears it all apart. It would be a even bigger eyesore, you know, than these smaller mines that they have. And some people look at this, it's like, look at all these mines and all the you know, the erosion and the terrible, you know, the destruction of nature and everything. And the thing is, that's what makes it neat. Okay. The funny thing is, out in California, the 49ers gold rush. Well, they got out there and they were mining kind of the same way they did here. This was in 1849, and they're out there mining all this, and somebody comes up with an idea. Hey, let's use water jets, and we'll just pump water real fast and push it into the, you know, and wash the dirt away, and it'll flow down in through their screens and their sifters or whatever they call them. I can't remember. But anyway, and everybody, oh, it's just so destructive to the environment, and oh, it's just terrible, terrible, terrible. And yet here it is 150 years later, and people go out there to see it and talk about how beautiful it is, because it's all, you know, it has this kind of wild, the hoodoos, you know, the wild, what Mother Nature would do, you know. It's just mankind did it in a very short period of time. But here it is 100 years, 150 years later, and there's, you know, people go up there and say how beautiful it is. Same thing here. If it wasn't for all these mines, there wouldn't be all these trails, and this would just be another set of mountains somewhere, you know. But because of all these trails and all these mines, it gives people a way to get back into the backwoods and actually explore these areas and see this stuff. You know, if it wasn't for those Jeep trails, I'd have never been way up at 11,500 feet looking down off of a mountain, you know. So it's just, yeah, I mean, some of it is bad, but then, you know, I don't know. I don't really know where to go with that. I shouldn't have even brought it up, I suppose. But it's funny how one man looks at it and, oh my God, it's just terrible how they destroyed the area. And another person looks at it and says, man, isn't it beautiful? You know, and boy, you know, thank God for these miners, you know, way back 100 and some years ago. Now that we can go back here and explore all these areas, you know, and see this stuff, because otherwise this wouldn't be a tourist destination, I don't think. You know, it is so pretty though. Have I said that? Have I mentioned how pretty it is up here? Oh, mercy. All right, see, between the trees, right straight ahead, we're going up that mountain. We're going up the side of that mountain, okay? The one that doesn't have any trees on it, we're going right, not over the top of it, but up the side of it at an angle. It's going to be like a switchback shelf road. So when we get up there, it's not too much longer. Not too much longer, we're going to go to 360 camera. There's these little spells here where I don't say anything, you know. Why don't you cut that part of the video out, Stan, when you're not talking about anything? It's not, you know, it's just some trees or whatever. Because the whole idea of this video is to go from Ouray, or from Durango all the way to Ouray, nonstop, and you can see, like you drove it yourself, you see every last inch of this highway. I wish I knew what kind of trees those were, those pine trees. I don't know the kinds of, I know some of them. I know some. When I see a juniper pine, I know it. When I see a pinyon pine, I know it. When I see, you know, aspen trees, I know them. Douglas fir, but I don't know if there's Douglas fir here or not. I think that's more like up in Montana, Idaho area. But I'm not sure. This might be, could it be ponderosa pine? I don't know. I wish I knew. I'll just start looking into that and try to learn some of my what would that be called? The study of trees. And I know somebody's on the other side of this video. It's a pine, such and such pine tree, you dummy. I just don't know. I wish I did, but I don't. Like that one there, that single one there on the left there. What it is? You know, I don't know. I don't know what kind of tree that is. And for those that don't know, well, we just drove by that gate. People that don't know, that's in the winter when they get a big snowstorm or whatever and they close the road, they put that gate down. And you better not be past it and get stuck. It's a huge fine. If you run one of those gates, I got a four-wheel drive, I'll go on through. And you get up here and get stuck, they nail you to the wall. So. All right, straight ahead, can you see that sideways notch in the highway? I was gonna pass him, but I gotta come around. Car popped around the corner there. But right above his, whatever, that laddery or whatever he has on the roof up there, see that notch in the mountain going left and right? That's where we're going. Going right up on top of that. And then up through that valley up there. Still climbing. We're still climbing. We've all the way. We've climbed all the way except when we dropped down into Silverton. That's the only downhill we've had so far. This is all uphill so far. Oh, it's a canoe. Didn't know what it was. Kayak. Got a kayak. Well, I just got to thinking about something. My mic might be getting low on battery, so I'm going to switch out to a different mic, and I'll be right back. All right, there's a mine off to the right. I'm back. I got my new battery in here, so should be good for the rest of the video. And we're going to stick you out the window. Boy, isn't that noisy? Go, the 360 camera, the magic of the 360 camera, isn't that neat? I can zoom in. Now I've already edited all of this, all the zooming and twirling and twisting that I'm going to do. I'll try not to make you sick. I know sometimes the 360 cameras, you get to twirling around so much they can make you nauseous. But I'll try to be very gentle on this video here. But we're getting ready to go up the side of this mountain. Yeah, it's just beautiful. I just love it. Love these 360 cameras. They're hard to deal with, and half the time I hit the button, I think they're recording, and later on I find out there's no film or there's no file. Doggone it, you know. But when they work, they work. I love it. So, and then like I said, this is like a shelf road here. There's no guardrail, and it goes down steep. So. You don't. Now I got a wide spot right here, but it gets right up to that white line here in a little bit, right there, getting closer. Look at that. If you go off of that, you ain't stopping until you hit the bottom. No guardrail. Why no guardrail? Well, people are more careful. There's no guardrail there. People are a lot more careful and a whole lot less accidents. If there's a guardrail there, some idiot in a Corvette will come flying down here thinking he's, you know, Mr. Paul Newman Racer or something, and fly off the edge of it, you know. Or he'll hit the guardrail and go through the guardrail and push, and die. Whereas if there's no guardrail, you're a lot more careful. If you notice, it doesn't really look like it, but to me, I'm hugging that yellow line. Yeah, I remember. Now some of these shots, like right here, you think, oh, am I going to hit the cart? Now, the camera is sticking out of the window, maybe a foot out and about 2 feet up, So that's why it looks like I'm going past the line sometimes. But see, I'm not past the line. There's a mine down there. Now, when I changed the camera or batteries in the camera in the recorder here, I did a little real quick research, and I found that the name of the mountain up here, and why I couldn't remember it. It's just so simple. It's called Red Mountain, and you'll see why. But the mine that we're going to drive over the top of, and it does a whole bunch of S-turns, switchbacks, and curly Qs and everything. We'll drive right over it. You'll spot it, and easy to see. I did a little research, and while we're driving by that, I'm going to actually read from Wikipedia again about it's the Idarado Mine. Okay, not Colorado, but Idarado, like Idaho and Colorado put together. Idarado. Okay, and it was a whole bunch of separate mines, and then years later, after they, each of those companies kind of went under, a big mining conglomerate come in and bought them all up and started doing big kind of mining. Instead of 1800s mining, they were doing mid 1900s mining. I think it was mid 1930s or something like that when they bought it all up. And they mined for years up in this area, and you think, well, it's all silver and gold. Actually, this big mine that I'm going to show you, it was more lead and zinc and stuff like that. A little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, but mostly lead. So anyway, and remember when it was down there, was talking about the railroad, how the railroad shut down, the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad. They shut down in 1981, and I was right about that. They shut down in 1981 because in 1979, this mine up here was the last mine that they were using. It shut down in 79, so the railroad had really nothing to haul, so they shut down in 1981. And then reopened as a tourist Railroad, and they renamed it and called it Durango Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. So, by the way, just in case somebody doesn't know, I'm sure there's somebody out there that doesn't know, what is a narrow gauge railroad? Well, a regular railroad, like your full-size rails, trains out here, the tracks are about 4 feet wide, 5 feet wide, something like that. They're the width of Roman chariots. Oh, look at that beautiful little pond. You know there's some beavers in there. You just know it. But the tracks were set the same width as wagon axles, okay? The width of wagon wheels. And the wagon wheels were set that width because that's how wide chariots were back in the Roman days, okay? You didn't know that, did you? Well, then they have to make a certain size bed for all the ties to set on, for the rails to set on top of that. And it takes us fairly a large area of dirt, you know, and land to do that. And when you're going down some of these canyons and everything, there's not a big area. So what they do is they make the rails a lot narrower. It's called a narrow gauge railroad. And it's a lot narrower. It's like, you know, a regular train, I don't remember the exact number. It's a weird number. It's like 58 3/4 inches or something weird like that. But a narrow gauge is about 3/4 of the width. So there's a little stream, mountain stream on the right. We're coming down into this. Look at these. Well, I'll just let you see it. I'll just wait and let you see it on your own. Kind of in the center of the screen. But right up underneath us, we're going to be going over the top of it here, just about right now. Right now, we're going over the mine, the tunnel. It's not a shaft, it's a tunnel going vertically or horizontally into the mountain. All right, I'm going to read this up on you here while you watch this. Okay. All right. Idarado Mine was a mining operation in the San Juan Mountains of Ouray County, Colorado, near the ghost town of Guston, producing primarily lead, silver, and zinc, along with lesser amounts of gold and copper. The mine is within the Sneffels Red Mountain Telluride mining district. Now, what you're looking at here, let me see what you're looking at. That mountain on the right there, that's Red Mountain. And there's like 3 or 4 peaks of Red Mountain, okay? All right, go back to reading here. The remains of the operation were visible from the $1 Million Highway north of Red Mountain Pass. That's what we just went over. By that little pond back there, little water, that little mountain lake, mountain pond. Okay, anyway, that was the pass back here. Between Ouray and Silverton, Colorado. The tunnels of Idarado extend some 5 miles west under a 13,000-foot mountain to the Pandora Mill near Telluride. If you were to drive from here to Telluride, you'd have to drive about 60 miles. Yeah, they tunneled through, and there was a mine over in Telluride, and there's a mine over here at Red Mountain, and they linked them by a tunnel back and forth, you know, about 5 miles. The mine was consolidated of several previously inactive mines interconnected via the Treasury Tunnel. That's the tunnel we're talking about. The Treasury Tunnel was initially created in 1896 with the hope of connecting older mine workings of Red Mountain to allow for drainage and exploring ore deposits thought to exist between the mines of Red Mountain and Telluride. The tunnel operated for about 10 years with limited success. In 1939, several of the companies merged and secured the mining rights to make the inactive mines on the west side of Red Mountain Valley utilize the old Treasury Tunnel. Many of the interconnected mines had been some of the district's best producers before closing they had to close because of low metal prices. They still had stuff, they could mine stuff, it just wasn't worth it. The amount of money to dig it out, they weren't making any money, so they closed it down. Another reason is the inability to pump the deep mines. Had to pump them dry, and they were having a hard time doing that. The operation was named Idarado, and in all, some 80 miles of underground workings were created and connected. The mine workings were accessed from either the Red Mountain side or from the Telluride side. Many of the employees lived in Telluride, and the mine was colloquially referred to as the Telluride Mines. Many of the historic important mines of the Telluride area, such as Tomboy, Black Bear, Ajax, Smuggler Union mines, were ultimately connected by extensive underground workings. The mine was a large employer in the area in the years past World War II. The ore produced was hauled through the mountain and processed at the Pandora Mill, which is just outside of Telluride. Idarado produced large amounts of lead, silver, and zinc, with smaller amounts of gold and copper. During World War II, the Idarado was a large supplier of critically needed lead and zinc. The mine operated in limited capacity until 1979, when production stopped and activity at the mine turned to reclamation. During the 1980s, reclamation efforts took place in the mill tailing ponds near the mine and farther north down the river near the old Irontown town site, where more mill tailings ponds had been created after all available space at the mine was exhausted. The old tailing ponds could still be seen just off the highway, appearing now as flat grassy meadows. The same flat mill tailing mines or piles seen near Pandora Mill stands are as evidence of 100 years of mining and milling in Telluride. So, as we're coming down this hill, just off to the right, I haven't been watching the screen, so I don't know if we passed it yet. But I think it's just off past these trees on the right side. There's a big flat area, and nope, this isn't it yet. We got a little ways to go. We still got to go a couple curves here to get through. But anyway, when they pull the tailings out, the tailings is just dirt they want to get rid of. Okay, they got to dig a hole until they get to the ore. To get the tailings, they get it out. Well, they just throw it off the edge of a mountain. Well, with a smaller mine that works, but when a bigger mine with 60 miles of mines, there's a lot of tailings, and it piles up, and they don't have any place else to put it. So they gather it up and pull it, push it down somewhere else and pile it up somewhere else. And that's what you'll see up here on the right. Not that. That's gravel for the highway crew. But wasn't that red mountain? It's just so pretty. It's so sparse and ugly that it's pretty. It's just something. But yeah, I just love this. I love learning about this stuff. To me, it's neat. Because I've never been around any of this kind of stuff. That's why it's neat. If I grew up here, it would be just like, yeah, ho hum, whatever. But there's old Red Mountain up there on top. It's got three peaks. The big one way up in the center there, that's the big one. And then the one closer on the left, that's a lower altitude. And then the one right there, that's another lower altitude one. And I'm playing with the camera there a little bit. I'm sucking it way out and making it, going around these hairpins just for the fun of it. Because I got to having fun with the editing software. And I did this for some reason. What was it? Oh, there's a house back in there. There's a house back in there. See it? I knew I did it for some reason. Alright, we're just about done with the 360 version. And I turned the camera off, and then I got down there a little bit farther and turned it back on, but apparently the second time I turned it on, it didn't record right. So I don't have that file. But we still get to watch the GoPro footage, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Nothing to complain about. Well, I must have missed the tailings. I don't see them. I must have missed them somewhere along the line. But anyway, there's a big area, and I do remember driving by it just thinking, oh, that's a nice little meadow. Well, it's not a meadow. It's humans took the tailings and poured them all out there and smoothed them all out and threw some grass out and grew some grass on it. Now it looks like a mountain meadow. So. how pretty it is up here during the fall with all these colors, you know, the leaves changing colors. There's aspen trees turning yellow and gold. What that building was. There's the tailings on the left there. There's some of them. There's some more. And in between those trees on the left. I think that whole pasture right out there on the left, I think that's all tailings there. They put grass and then bushes kind of grew up on top of them. There's another area down here farther, and I actually spent the night about 2 months ago. I spent the night up here, and there's a little river going down through there, but there's also a canal, you know, like a irrigation canal, and I parked right beside the irrigation canal. So I had the sound of the water, you know, flowing by, but it was a man-made canal, and I couldn't really get to the river because it was on the other side of the canal. I just couldn't really get to it. I think all that area on the left out there, that big meadow area, I think that's one of the tailing areas where they poured all the tailings out there and then smoothed it all out, and then Mother Nature grew, you know, bushes and trees and stuff up since then. The one I'm talking about, well, I camp close to, it's going to be on the right. I just keep thinking how wonderful this is, how gorgeous it is up here. It's just such a beautiful drive. There's a building up here on the right. I think that's it coming up. Yeah, there's a building on the right. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's an old, like maybe an old gas station or something was there, or maybe it's like an old fire department. You know, back, it's a ghost town here now, but back, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe it's some back in the, you know, the 30s and 40s. Maybe that back then that was the highway department. Maybe I don't really know what that building is. I ought to look into that for a future video. Maybe it's something interesting. I don't know. As you notice, the valley is starting to close in. It got real wide and flat there for a while, and now it's starting to close in. We got a canyon on the left. We're starting to get into the pretty. This is what you've been waiting for. This whole video. This is where it gets spectacular. And I don't, like I said, I try not to do epic and wow, just, you know, but it's getting to the good part. It's really getting to the good part. That's, you heard that ding-a-ding? That was me turning the 360 camera on. Apparently it didn't work. I didn't do something right. I don't use that 360 camera very often, so I don't know how, you know, I'm not real good at operating it. And I think I push a button, I think it's on, and it's not. It turned it on, but it didn't start recording or something along those lines. There's a snow shed. There's an avalanche area right here, all up above there. And an avalanche comes down, it just hits that roof and ricochets and goes on down into the canyon. And therefore, it doesn't close the highway. talked about that on the previous video about Wolf Creek Pass. And as you can see, no guardrails. It gets better. Yeah, this is pretty wide right through here. The canyon's getting narrower, but the road is still fairly wide. But it gets to where there's just barely enough room for 2 lanes, and that's it. Kind of like right here. Here we go. Now, you fall off of that, you're only going down about 60 or so feet down to the bottom of that little gorge. We get up here a little farther, you fall off of it, you go down maybe 500 feet. I mean, it's quite a long ways to the bottom. Can you hear? Did you hear that on the engine? It was downshifted, and so I didn't have to use the brakes so much. And the RPM on the engine went pretty high there, 3,000 or 4,000 RPM. Hey, here's a big truck. There's a big truck. Listen to him. But anyway, I downshifted and everything because this is pretty steep coming down this right here. And as you can tell how slow that semi was going, he's pulling that hill. He had a whole load on. And there you can hear the engine. I downshift a little bit to help slow down, so I don't have to use the brakes near as much. Now, as you said, on that, see up ahead, that shelf road up ahead, if you fall off of that, how far is it down to the bottom of that valley? 3, 4, maybe even 500 feet. It's a good long way. Right here is right where these cars are parked. There's a river. I'm letting people go by here, but there's a stream, and right about where that white SUV is, there's a gate, and water goes down through there. It comes out of. It's kind of like a little spout. It's not the big one. There's a bigger one up the road here. But all the water drainage, so it doesn't run across the river, so it doesn't run across the road. It goes down through that drainage culvert, And if it's raining, you can get out there and look, and it's like a waterfall on the other side. But the bigger one's on up the road here, just a little bit farther. And it's an actual river that flows pretty much all year long. Kind of a waterfall. I think they got a name for it. I can't remember the name of it. But another thing, after you get done watching this video, this section right here, this is the most famous section, right where we're at. There's a video on YouTube. I saw it. I don't know what the name of it is. I'm sure it has, it's $1 million highway. There was a huge rainstorm. Somebody was up here, like I am right now, but it was just a really bad day. It was raining really, really hard. And they come around like right here. All water was pouring off this mountain so fast. It's like a house with no guttering, and rain was just pouring off this mountainside onto the roadway. And because it was raining so hard, it was bringing in rocks. We're talking, baseball, softball sized rocks were falling off this cliff, and it just shattered their car. The windshield, and it just tore the car to heck. And I think there was a girl filming it, because you hear her voice squealing and everything. As I remember, it's been a long time since I saw that. But she was holding her cell phone on the passenger side, and every time something, a big, large rock would hit, you see, So it can be dangerous. It can be dangerous up here. I've never seen her. I've been up here when it's drizzly rain, but not real bad. but usually it's real dry like this. And I've been here, at least a dozen or 7, 8 times probably up and down this highway. Here's that waterfall. It goes under the bridge and falls over there, and you can pull over and park and go out on that little platform and take pictures and stuff. I'll pull over and check it all out, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about just driving from point A to point B and learning a little bit about the video. So if you ever get out here, here's a natural tunnel. Not what I mean by that. It's not a snow shed. It's just a tunnel under some rock. Anyway, but anyway, if you ever get out to Colorado, southwest Colorado down here, Durango to Ouray, and take the time to drive this highway. Take the time to drive this highway. And if it's the first time you've ever done it, maybe drive north like I'm doing here, because you're closer to the side. You're not on that edge right out there. If things like that don't bother you, then by all means have fun, you know. So head south and be right on that edge. I remember the first time I come down it, I was you know, kind of scared. Don't mind. I'm afraid of heights anyway, so it didn't take much to get under my skin. I'm getting better at it. It doesn't seem to bother me near as much as it used to. But we're almost there, folks. Just a few more miles. We'll be pulling down through Ouray. We'll drive right through the middle of Ouray. I'm not going to drive around town. Just drive right down Main Street and head north out of town. And that'll be the end of the video. So, but I sure hope you liked it. You know, spent a lot of time here today. Right now we're at about a minute 42 seconds. So, or an hour and 42 minutes. I'm sorry. Duh. You know, so it's a good long video. For people that like the long videos, you know, you're welcome. I'm sure there's some people out there, man, I just can't watch hour and 40 minute or hour and a half, 2 hour long video. I just can't do it. You know, well, don't watch it in one setting. Watch 20, 30 minutes of it on Sunday, and then on Monday come back and watch 20 or 30 more minutes, and then Tuesday come back to 20. By Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, you have the whole video watched, okay? And you'll get to watch the whole thing, and you don't have to sit there in one setting. So here's a little pull-off area. If you want, you can pull off that area, and it overlooks, right there is Ouray, right on the other side of this little hill. And right there you can see some of it. And there's a couple switchbacks. Goes back and forth, and we'll eventually get back into town down here. And there's all kinds of stuff. Straight ahead up in that valley, they call that, what do they call, I forget the name of it. It's like a theater, you know. It's the way it's all hollowed out and everything, and you can drive up in there and see the scene, you know, the sights and scenery up there too. But if I pulled off every little place to check all these little things out and put it in one video, it'd be a 12-hour video. Okay, so I gotta save something for next time. Okay, straight ahead, see that little notch in the mountain up there? There's a waterfall over there. I don't remember the name. I want to say it's Bridal Veil Falls or something like that. But there's a waterfall over there. Drive through the main, you know, through town, and there's some of the back streets, and you head back up in there, and you get out, and you have to walk up about a quarter mile to actually go to the waterfalls. Off to the left, shortly, not yet, but off to the left here in a little bit, there's another waterfall, and it goes through this really, really, really narrow notch canyon. It's only like 2 or 3 feet, 4 feet wide. It's really narrow. Okay. On this next switchback, that's where that's at. But on this next switchback, you'll see a road heading off up into that next valley. It's kind of straight ahead valley up there. And there's a road that goes up in there, and I'd like to take you up in there sometime too. And there's a shelf road. I don't know if I can take the van on. It's so small. I could width-wise, but I think height-wise, it's actually notched out like the letter C. Okay, that other waterfall's just on the left there we just drove by. But you go up in there, and it's a what they call a shelf road. It was basically a sheer cliff, and I just notched the thing out. And a Jeep can get in there no problem. I don't know if my van, it might be too tall to go up through there. So, but amphitheater, that's what it's called. That, straight ahead, that's called an amphitheater up in there. And just the way it's kind of hollowed out and, you know, made a half circle. Think of half of a football stadium or something, you know. So we're down in town. This is it. And seems like every time I come down here, right where that those two SUVs on the right, there's a cop sitting there. not today, but you come around that corner and it's like 25 mile an hour speed limit. The local cop likes to get you. And I don't understand this. Look at this main street, how it's so off-angled, you know, so kiltered. Now you got to remember, this town was built, there was no such thing as paved, you know, asphalt roads. It was dirt, you know, dirt street. So maybe it has something to do with it. But you would think maybe they would notch this down about 10 feet and then put a retaining wall on the right where the, you know, the sidewalk or something. It just seems weird. It's such odd kiltered, you know. The east side is so much higher than the west side. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Then on the right, there's a big bar up on top, you know, the outdoors bar and everything. Let's see what this guy's got in his truck. See what what's he got in there? Ha ha ha! Booze. It's the booze truck. He's delivering to the bars or liquor store or something. Yeah. But this is Ouray. It's also known as Little Switzerland here in America, because the town gives you this feeling of being in Switzerland, you know, or at least what Americans would think Switzerland would be like, I guess. But there's another bar on the left, and hotels all around. And as we come out of town, there's more hotels. There's a big, I think I'm going to shut the video off when we go by the swimming pool. Just on the north side of town, we're almost to it. There's a swimming pool up here, and it's a hot springs. So it's a regular, like a concrete swimming pool that you would go to in any city, but the hot springs feed it, so it's a hot swimming pool. So in the winter, when it's snowing, you can still go swimming. We'll drive by. It's on the left here. That's part of it right there, I think. Oh, that's a water park. I'm sorry. There it is right there. See it on the left? So, that's it. So we got just a little bit more of this, like a kind of a canyon on the right. But once you get past this, it opens up and it just becomes flat. It's just so weird. The Ouray is in this like a horseshoe of mountain, and then nothing on the north side. And it's kind of unique in that way. So, and I think Ouray would be another neat town to live in, but I think it's pretty expensive. And people that live here, the housing and stuff is pretty expensive here. Whereas Silverton, I don't know. I've never looked into it. So, but anyway, like I said, see that cliff on the right and that mountain on the left? Once you get past that, it just kind of turns flat going up into Montrose. There's, you know, just it really flattens out pretty fast. So anyway, this is it. Thank you very much for watching. And 1 hour 48 minutes. Wow, that's my new record. The longest video I've ever made. So anyway, y'all be good, and we will see you on the next video. And I hope you enjoy these. If you do, great. Leave comments, let me know. Remember to thumbs up, like and subscribe, and all that kind of nonsense. I hate saying that, but anyway, do all that. And like I said, if you would try to pass these videos off to other people through Facebook or other social media ways. You got a friend that you think might enjoy this kind of content, give them a call or send them an email and a link or something. Try to help me out. Try to get this this channel back up and running good again. So with that, y'all be good. Take care. Love you. God loves you. All that good stuff. So be good. Take care, and I will see you next week. Oh, Nick, take that back. I'll see you in a couple days because I'm going to put that glider video up on Tuesday. So y'all be good. Take care. Adios.